In today's episode, we are going to talk about how to stop doubting yourself as an artist for good, ditch the self-doubt, or forget about selling. And I'm going to say that one more time. Ditch the self-doubt or forget about selling. There are a lot of direct consequences of unchecked self-doubt, so we have to really tackle this head on. This is so important. And I've made lots of really bad art over the years, and I had zero proof that I could actually be good, and I had no physical proof that this was going to work. And I imagined what my art could be, but I hadn't really discovered a lot of proof, especially in those early days. And so I definitely had a lot of self-doubt. It's understandable where this comes from. There is comparison, perfectionism, and fear of rejection. And sometimes our art is not that great. And then, of course, we're feeling pretty bad about that. It's common to have self-doubt among artists. I think there's probably not an artist out there that has experienced this. If they have said they aren't really ever doubting themselves, I think that might be lying. So it's totally normal. We either have to overcome it or it can be a barrier if we don't address it. And I really wish this wasn't true, but this is something that we definitely have to overcome. We compare ourselves to other people thinking that we should be doing this instead of the reality of what is at our own pace. And when I look at my bad art, oh my goodness, I had so much comparison-itis in myself. I was looking at my art and I was like, this is what I should be doing, but this is what I have. And so we really compare ourselves because we aren't really happy with the journey and the way it's unfolding and really the pace of our own journey. And that isn't really going to help us. We beat up on ourselves that we aren't further along in our journey. And it doesn't matter at what level we are in our journey. I think we're always thinking we should be further along, that we should be somewhere else. And it's ridiculous. It's not helping us at all. And we really question if we can really do this art thing as a profession. And we say things like, we want it, but we are always doubting it. We're always playing into that contradictory energy. And the reality is that if we have unchecked self-doubt, there's direct consequences that appear in our art studio, in our art business. We have unfinished projects when we have self-doubt. We are reluctant to share or sell our work if we have self-doubt, and we miss a lot of opportunities when we have self-doubt. And I've seen great artists quit on their art before it even gets a chance. And sometimes it's really people who are quite talented, who are really hard on themselves. And I've seen artists not show great work on Instagram and promote it because as they have self-doubt. I've seen artists try to kill great work as in they want to overpaint it because they doubt themselves. So there are a lot of direct consequences of unchecked self-doubt. So we have to really tackle this head on. And today we're going to talk about strategies to overcome self-doubt and how to stop doubting yourself as an artist for good. And when I say that, I mean that because although occasionally I have self-doubt, I have pretty much come to a place where when it rears its ugly head, I do not play into it anymore. And I'm going to share with you some strategies that I use for overcoming self-doubt. And the thing that's cool about self-doubt is really it's just a sign that you have contradicting energy. And I'll explain what I mean by that. But there is this belief that many of us artists have that hold us back from really pursuing our dreams. And it goes a little bit like this. I want this, but that word but is the self-doubt rearing its ugly head. And when we have that phrase, I want this, but we are splitting our energy and therefore we can't move forward. And instead we stay stuck. I want this, but do you see that contradictory energy? Like you can't have belief in yourself if you're contradicting yourself at the same time. We have to lean into one direction, meaning not splitting our energy. I want this. I like this. We can't always have a but in the sentence because I just don't believe that we can have creative flow while we have resistance and the but, that contradictory heavy resistance in the same flow of energy. We have to lean into one direction, not splitting our energy. And that takes practice. I think the biggest shift I have had is it's a mindset shift. We have to reframe how you view failure and criticism. I had to work on this a lot, so I'm speaking from my own personal experience. You have to believe in yourself that you can get good or be good even when there is no proof. Let me say that one more time. You have to believe in yourself even when there is no proof. Now, I'm sharing on YouTube again my ugly paintings. I have had to have a major reframe over the years in this, and it still happens. But for me to have some of the ugliest work I've ever seen out there to doing what I'm doing now, my reframe had to be big. And here's 2 reframes that I use and I still use. I always say I'm one step closer to being better. I'm one step closer to knowing what I want. Because I think some of the things that happen for us as artists, we make stuff and then we're like, oh, that's not it. That's not it. And so we get really frustrated by that. And then we begin to doubt ourselves and whether we can actually pull off what we want to do. We don't always know what it looks like, but we know we're going to know it when we see it. And so what I would do to reframe this is I'm one step closer to being better. I'm one step closer to knowing what I want. I'm one step closer to having it be what I want. So reframes like that is all about the mindset shift, not different in the art. And so when we can look at it through that lens, we have faith in our abilities, our future abilities, as opposed to what we see right now. The other thing is action over perfection has always served me well. I am a perfectionist through and through. Like I'd like to say overcoming perfectionism, but I still think it's something that always rears its head with me because that's just what I love. So taking action and producing work regularly, regardless of the perceived imperfections, is something that I have gotten better at doing over the years. And why not look for satisfaction in the process itself and the making of the mess and finding unexpected moments in the play? When I started having that perspective of being satisfied with the process, making the mess, finding unexpected moments in the play, sometimes they were ugly messes, sometimes they were really surprising and really cool. So why not instead look for the joy in that and the appreciation for being an artist and all that it gives us? I think sometimes we overlook how lucky we are to be artists. And so I always have this great appreciation for the fact that I can actually be an artist and do these messes and do these crazy things. So really just taking action, no matter what comes out of that process, is something that I have definitely been religious about, as in that is the mantra of my practice. And if you don't feel that you have the skills, which is something that I have worked really hard on, I'm always wanting to up-level my skills. I'm still doing it right now. It's not something that I feel that I've ever achieved the golden sweet spot of like, I've got all the skills under my belt. I'm always looking for that next level of achieving a skill I haven't yet done. And that is about taking more inspired action. And again, I'll talk separately on another episode about inspired action as opposed to forced action. But what I have to say about inspired action and lack of skills is when you take inspired action, you really start outworking your self-doubt, meaning improving comes with time and patience and doing the boring things that seem really basic. The things that I do in my studio would probably look pretty boring to you. It's things that really help build up my skill. And at the same time, it really reinforces that I can make progress, which helps outwork your self-doubt. And a quick tip here is, what's one thing that you want to get better at? Pick that to focus on and do that until you see a difference. And again, every artist before you had to do the same thing. No one popped out a perfect artist and had all the skills. There's 3 things that I think we have to work on, which is what are we all about as an artist, which is the artistic essence, so to speak. What is the creative process that really works best for us and brings out the best, most authentic work in us? And then what are the things we want to learn and be better at as an artist that relates to our strategic growth and our profitable art businesses. So those are definitely 3 big buckets that you can pick one thing to start working on and focus on it until you see a difference. And again, remember, every artist had to do the same thing. We all had to improve over time, and no one came out as a perfect artist from the womb or the minute they hit paintbrush to paper. I think it's always a work in progress. And the other thing is create a support network. And what I mean by that is surround yourself with positive influences with constructive feedback so that you don't get caught in your own self-sabotage. And I say this because I've seen really great artists try to ruin really great work because they're so close to it and they have self-doubt and they're so hard on themselves. So make sure that you really have a support network. And do it for yourself. And what I mean by that is know yourself. And I'm going to get into a little bit of how this works for me. Because when you know yourself, then there can be no self-doubt. It just feels good to you. So let me explain what I mean by that. So let's look at what you like to drink first thing in the morning. Maybe you're one of those people that doesn't like to drink anything, and that is your thing. Or maybe you like tea first thing, or maybe you like coffee. Maybe you like a latte. Maybe you like a flat, short, white, whatever. Like, the point is, you have a certain way that you like to approach your morning drinks. And I used to always have coffee, but now I like to have a tea, and then I'm going to have a coffee later. But my coffee is a soy weak latte specifically. So what I'm saying here is, you know, if you like tea or how you like your coffee, or if you don't like either one of those things, you don't have to say to your family or friends or partner, hey, what should I drink this morning? You already know this, right? This is something that you inherently know about yourself. You know yourself in this area. And art is really very similar. And I want you to think of one area in your life that you're 100% sure in, because you know what you like and what you don't like, and you don't have to ask anyone else. This is what we have to do with our art. You have to know yourself, know what you like, know what you don't like, and the only one that can answer that is you, honestly. It's what makes your art special, and this is what you have to do to your art. And it's a process. We unpack it. But you might be saying, but wait, Michele, I'm selling my art. Don't I need to ask the people what they like so that I know what to make and sell? And hang on for a minute, because no, I'm going to say no. The honest truth is, if you don't know who you are first, like how you like your eggs, like how you like your tea, how you like your coffee, you won't have great success at selling your art. You need to be excited by your art and see the value in your unique vision before other people can see the value. Let me say that one more time. The honest truth is that if you don't know who you are first, the same way is in how you like your eggs, how you like your tea, how you like your coffee, you won't have great success at selling your art. You need to be excited by your artwork. You need to see the value in your unique vision before other people can see the value as well. And that is the honest truth. Sometimes I feel like I rip off a Band-Aid when I say these things, but we have to stop comparing ourselves to other people, worrying about what other people are thinking. We have to really start trusting ourselves. And when we stop comparing ourselves to other people and listening to other people's expectations of what we should do with our time, we're going to be more satisfied as artists. And I have to ask you one more question, like, are we living for them, the people we're making the art for, or the people we ask, is this good? Is this good? Or are we trying to make ourselves happy? Remember, this is about making you satisfied as an artist and making yourself happy. And when we can focus on what makes us happy, and when I say happy, like truly happy, and lean into more of what it looks like to be happy in our studio and to unfold our natural way of seeing, this is a gift that is so valuable. And when we do something and discover something that's surprising that no one else can do, we're really gifting ourselves something truly valuable. And not just as an artist, but as a human, we gift ourselves joy in these moments, and then we can confidently pass that joy and delight to others as a viewer or collector. So when we really understand our art, when we get excited about it, that's where we get to pass it along to collectors who will get it. So know yourself, definitely first. And this gift unlocks decades of moments of joy. And I know that sounds a bit of a stretch, but think about it. If you're enjoying your studio process, you enjoy really that creation process, and you're having joy in the studio because of this, you're unlocking decades and decades of joy. And isn't that the purpose of being an artist in the first place? Isn't that why we do it? So the question isn't, can I do this art thing? And will it work? Which is at the root of self-doubt. The question is, what am I willing to do to make this work? And again, that could be another topic episode on this podcast as well. The question is, what am I willing to do to make this work? It will work, but are you willing to give it the time so that you can change your life for decades? And I really had a profound shift when I started thinking about it like this. Or do you wish it would work quickly this year because you're really desperate for that quick sale, but perhaps not the following year without sustainable growth? These are the questions that I really challenge you to ask yourself. And when you ask yourself this question, you lose self-doubt for good because you're doing it for yourself, and you begin to know yourself, and you begin to trust yourself, and you trust your decisions. And when you're doing it for yourself, just like your coffee and your tea, you don't need to ask anyone, how should I do my coffee this morning? How should I do my tea? Should I have tea this morning? I don't know. It's really that thing of you've got to know yourself. And so I'm asking you, are we doubting our creativity when we don't trust ourselves? Of course we are. And not trusting that we are creative like everyone else. And what I mean by this is sometimes we are doubting that our creativity is worthy and that we aren't one of the lucky ones. That's what I used to think. Oh, those artists, they're special people. Maybe I just don't have it in me. Are we doubting that our creativity is worthy of our own attention, of actually selling to people who give their attention to it? Why not you? Why is it that everyone else is capable and you're not? I just don't believe that's true. So it's time to stop that and do this instead. Catch the but, as in I want this but, and reframe it. Cut yourself some slack. Say, I'm getting better at this. It's working one step at a time. I'm closer. And keep making work when there is no proof that this is going to be great and that you will have success. That is definitely the one tip that I can say. I have so many photos of bad work to show you. I had zero proof, but I had belief in my future capabilities. And 3, know yourself, know thyself. And again, this is what I teach in Origin Art, Authentic Core, which is if we don't know ourselves, it really makes it challenging because you'll always be chasing your tail as an artist. And if you find a way to make it worthy of your time, your moments, your unconditional love and unwavering attention, which is what I think art really demands of us as artists, the rest of the world will find it worthy as well. And your right fit audience will be drawn to it like a magnet. But if you don't think it's worthy of your time, if you don't put that love into it, no one else is going to see it like that either. So these are the things that I do believe will stop the self-doubt for good because you can catch it. So catch the but, reframe it, keep making work when there is no proof that it's any good, and believe in yourself that you can be good in the future. And yes, definitely know yourself. Know thyself is so important to making great work. And that's a wrap for today. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more episodes. And if you enjoyed this, please share it with others and follow the podcast for new updates each week. And if you want to tell me your biggest takeaway for this episode, connect with me on Instagram at originart_with_Michele. And again, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you can find a YouTube video where I share all of this as well. And for my YouTube friends, watch this next video. I think you're going to really love it.